Hi guys, this is Dormouse03, and this is The Evil Within, Akumu difficulty, Chapter 7. So, after the wild ride full of horrific checkpoints that was Chapter 6, Chapter 7 is kind of a breath of fresh air. It's going to be a much slower level. It's going to involve a lot fewer resources needed, and you're going to be able to recover a little bit from Chapter 6, because the good news about Chapter 7, that is a different story from Chapter 6, is that the checkpoints are much, much better. So that is super helpful. There is map fragment number 13 on the pulpit there. And so, I was talking about how Chapter 6 had bad checkpoints, and that's kind of what made it a rough chapter to get through. But aside from the fact that it really did use a lot of resources to be able to take down the enemies that are in that level, and if you don't know about, you know, the second area where you have the boxes that shoot the harpoons and stuff at you, if you didn't know that you could get through that without killing most of those enemies, you could end up wasting a lot of ammunition on that section as well. And if you didn't know about the little hidey hole from Noon and Zen, you could end up spending, you know, quite a few shots taking them down also. And then you have the Sentinel fight. So, you know, you've potentially used a bunch of resources at this point. And this level gives you the chance to get a lot of them back, because there aren't that many enemies on this level. And there are a lot of little nooks and crannies and things to break and whatnot to be able to restock. So there's the checkpoint. There is a crossfade, because I wanted to get the trap parts from this little trap, and you'll see me from here on out disarming more of those traps, because I want the trap parts so that I can, you know, be sure to have a stock of them for, you know, the later chapters when I'm going to need them. And I end up with so I finished the game at this point, so never fear that this guide will complete itself, because it will. And I found that at the end I had, and this is good news, I had a lot more stuff than I actually needed to be able to take care of the enemies in the final chapters. And so the good news is that you don't have to conserve as much as I do. If you want to play things on the safe side, you can follow my little strategies for conserving ammunition. Here's a good one: shotgun shell, kill that big guy, because the big guy takes a lot of damage. I was trying to do a little bit of a sneak thing, and wasn't successful on those enemies. There are 3 of them there, a big guy and 2 regular dudes, but I got through that, you know, fairly cleanly. If you can herd them back to the stairs there, you can kind of line them up and throw some matches on them. So I was talking about how, you know, I got through with a lot more resources than I actually needed, which is a good thing, because that means that you don't have to disarm every trap that I do. You don't have to avoid using ammunition every time I do. If you get into a situation where, you know, things don't play out exactly the way they do with me, you don't have to worry about spending a little bit of ammo, because you will probably have more than enough to get yourself through the chapters. I would say I did start to run kind of low on pistol ammunition toward the end, but toward the end you don't really use a lot of pistol ammo. There are a few sections where you really need to have some in chapter 11 and 12. And other than that, the pistol is not, you're not going to be using it as much, or you're not going to need to use it as much, because in the end you're going to want to use some of your more powerful weapons anyway against bosses and things. So that should be good news for you guys, because the way that I show you how to get through the game is a way that definitely can work, will allow you to conserve your resources and make sure that you have enough to get through until the end. But if you don't do things as cleanly as I do sometimes, then you don't have to worry. So that is good news for everybody, I think. And so while we're sort of running around collecting things in this level, I just want to reiterate a point that I think that I made, but I may not have made 100% clear, that, this is not the only way to play. There are definitely other ways to do things than the ways that I do them. And the whole point of this guide is not to say that, like, I'm an amazing player and this is the way that everyone should play, and, this is the only way to get through this mode, because it's not. Realistically, guys, I'm not the greatest player in the world. I think that my gameplay shows that I'm not the greatest player in the world, but I got through this mode. And the whole point of this guide is, to show people that you can get through it without being some sort of gaming god or goddess. You can get through the mode using some strategy and planning. And, it takes some skill too, but you don't have to be a perfect player. Modes like this make you feel like you have to be a perfect player because, for all intents and purposes, it is a quote-unquote perfect run because you don't ever get hit. If that's how you're defining perfect, here's your first key of the level, P.S. If that's how you're defining perfect as is not getting hit, that's how this mode defines perfect play, then it is a quote-unquote perfect run. But that doesn't mean that I do everything in the best way possible and that there's no other strategy that will work in certain sections, because that's just simply not true. I play in a way that suited me. And for me, and for the purposes of this guide, that meant prioritizing certain things that, are the things that I felt like were the most important for me to be able to conquer this mode. And those things were, making sure that I could carry a lot of resources and then holding on to those until I really, really needed to use them. That is kind of how I play survival horror difficult modes. I conserve my resources until I need them, and then if I don't need them, all the better, because that means that I have done well in my mind. That may not be how someone else defines doing well, but that's my own personal thing. If that's not what you're about and you want to maybe upgrade things so that maybe damage is more important to you, or you want to make sure you kill everything, like maybe you wanted to kill that sentinel boss because maybe he dropped some green gel and that'll help you upgrade more things or something like that, then do that. It's all just preference at the end of the day, and doing whatever works to get you through the challenges that the game places in front of you. And if you do that the same way that I do, and I could help you through that, and some of the strategies are successful for you, then that's great. That's what I'm aiming for. But if you have your own way of doing things, and you watch me and you think, oh well, here's this mistake and that mistake, and you could have done this and that differently, and that helps you plan your own strategy to get through, then I think that's success too. You know, sometimes it's just seeing someone else go through the game and do the things that look difficult or that you're struggling with, and sort of seeing how they do them, and seeing the successes that they have, and seeing the potential mistakes that they made, and seeing the moments where you might do something differently. That is helpful. I always enjoy watching people play through the same games that I've played, because I like to see how people approach things differently. I think that that's what makes this form of entertainment so awesome, is that there are so many different ways to approach the same situation, and as long as you get through it, none of those ways are wrong. So I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, because I think sometimes when people make walkthroughs or even playthroughs or put game footage up online, there's this feeling like either they come across as, you know, I think I'm an amazing gamer and you should play like me, or that's the perception that people have of them. And I don't want to come across that way, guys. I don't want to come across as trying to tell you that I'm somehow better than you are. I just want to show you a way that I made it through a particular game on a particular difficulty, and show you that it can be done, and hopefully give you guys some strategies or some perspective on how you might do the same. So now I'm going to stop with that tangent and talk about the actual gameplay here, because stuff is actually happening. So this is a new enemy type, and I'm going to fail to shoot him with the sniper rifle, right? And if I could get him in the head, one sniper bullet will kill this enemy. And I was having, and this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. This is not a perfect gameplay, right? Like, I made a mistake there, and if I was trying to come across as like this perfect player, I would have edited that out. You know, I would have gone back, done it perfectly, where I got the headshot with the sniper, and not shown you that mistake. But as it turns out, you know, I was able to do this level with making that mistake, and the reason why is because I have bullets saved up, you know, so that a couple of misses didn't really matter, you know. And you know, if you have a little bit better aim than I do, then that's awesome, and you won't have to spend as much of this ammunition that we've saved up. So, and you won't have to worry about saving up as much. So in any case, this enemy, it's called, oh, what are they called? It's called an alter ego. Thank you, Internet, for answering all of my questions. And be careful here, because there's going to be a trap that happens behind you. You want to burn that guy real quick, because he will fall down and start hurting you. And then as you move through that area, don't linger, because there are those spikes that come out. I don't believe that there's a tripwire or anything there, or at least I wasn't able to see one, so I think it just happens as you move through that area. And I'm going to disarm these traps, because I, again, want to be saving up some trap parts, because I know I'm going to want to have some bolts later on. And then you can pull this lever here to kill the one or two of the alter egos that are down in that little area. And so they're called alter egos because I believe the story is that they are people with dissociative identity disorder, so the fancy term for multiple personalities. And I don't know how they found so many people with dissociative identity disorder, because it's a very, very rare psychological condition. And very often I think it's not true DID. But in any case, that's neither here nor there. They somehow found all these people with with multiple personalities, and that's the reason that they have like it's like two people fused into one. So they have the two heads, and then they have I think two hearts. So like the one that was hanging up, I noticed on a different playthrough, if you look at the one that was hanging up in that area, you can see it's like hearts beating. And so maybe that's a way to know whether they're still alive or not. They usually are. When in doubt, they're probably alive. But I thought that was a really cool touch. In any case, here is the Keeper. He's going to lock us in here and is going to do what the Keeper does, which is try to poison us. And so on this difficulty, the poison moves, it goes much, much faster than it did before. So you need to be moving and grooving through this level. You do not really have time to mess around and do what I'm doing, which is going to pick up the stuff without actually looking at the thing and realizing, oh man, I gotta move through this level. So here comes our friend the alter ego, and you should be shooting him in the face, because shooting him in the face kills him much faster. And I found shooting him in the right head, and I don't know if this is just me and being myself, but I find that shooting him in the right face kills him a little bit faster. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I almost died right here because I was messing around for far too long, picking up trap parts and screwing around with that alter ego right there. But you need to get those valves turned. So put the alter ego down in any way that you can. One sniper bullet to the head, again, will kill that enemy. And that doesn't take any upgrades. So whether or not you've upgraded your sniper, it doesn't matter. One bullet will kill him. So there is the checkpoint. There's some stuff that you can pick up. And then there's going to be 3 more alter egos down here. And now you can use the trap to kill them. That's a perfectly fine strategy, is to shoot the trap and use it to kill or at least incapacitate a couple of these enemies. But that's not what I'm going to choose to do. I believe I disarmed that trap. I was really gung-ho about getting the trap parts on this sequence, because I used a lot of trap parts in the last chapter to make crossbow bolts for that room at the beginning, that hellacious set of rooms where the checkpoint is so terribly bad, because there should be a checkpoint in between the rooms, and that's just my opinion, but that would make that so much less frustrating if you weren't worried the whole time you were in the first room about running out of resources before you made it to the second room. It would be much better. So in any case, I'm going to herd all 3 of these beautiful multiple personalitied individuals up here, and then I'm going to head down, and I think I'm going to disarm this trap. I do. And then to your left, there's some stuff and another trap. And I had a moment where I couldn't decide exactly what I wanted to do, because there's the crank right there, and then I thought, oh no, I think there's stuff down there, I better go get it. And then I thought, oh no, they're gonna come get me, and I better turn the crank. And then you know, I stop halfway through turning the crank. I can't believe myself sometimes. I was like, no, I want the stuff. So don't do that. If you're gonna go down here to get this stuff, just go get it, and don't waste your time and almost get murdered because you are just a crazy lunatic. So I went down and ended up disarming the trap and get the parts and get the green gel, and now I'm gonna turn the crank. I can't believe that I had it almost closed, and then I was like, no. No, I'm gonna go get that stuff. Dang it. I must get the stuff. So, alright, my insanity aside, there's going to be a trap when you turn the corner right here. I don't think that it... And see, now this is me just remembering from my Survivor run, because I remembered it was there and I never hit it on this run. I don't know that it damages you, but I think it makes gas start coming out, and so that makes this section more difficult because you have to do it quicker, because then there's gas. And then that might prevent you from getting some other things later on in the level. On the other side, because if there's gas down there, you can't get to certain parts. So in this section here, I burned some bodies. I probably didn't need to burn that one, in all honesty. It was probably going to be okay. But I burned the 2 on the ground, and then that guy around the corner by the crank got up, and now he doesn't get up on any other difficulty, unless he might get up on Nightmare. I don't know. I haven't played on Nightmare because I went straight from Survivor to Akumu, so I can't say whether or not the enemy placements are the same or different. But on Akumu there is a guy there, and so you need to be careful of him, because if you did like me and you came from a different difficulty setting where he wasn't there, you won't be expecting him to be there. So just be wary of that. And we're going to make our way back up and grab the second piece to the head puzzle. So there's a nice harpoon, which I think is the only loot in this room, although it feels like there should be more loot in that room. And maybe there is on the other difficulties. It's so hard to remember, like, what stuff is different, you know? Because I know that there's definitely a lot more ammo and stuff laying around in the Survivor and Casual difficulties. So, that is that side done. We have our second faceplate. And I'll be continuing this level in the next part. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you there.
Just one more.